The new Hellraiser movie is here, 2022. We're gonna review it. Let's go. Hellraiser 2022 stars Jamie Clayton, Odessa Ozian, Goran Visnich, and is directed by David Bruckner. What's up, guys? Exciting day. Brand new Hellraiser movie is out. This movie has been in development hell for so many years right now. I think it's changed hands quite a few times, but finally we have a new Hellraiser movie with a fantastic director, David Bruckner. The work that he did with The Night House and The Ritual, say no more. As soon as I heard that he was directing this movie, I was in. I mean, this is big because we all know the Hellraiser franchise and the troubles that it has been through. After the fourth one, Bloodline, it went straight to video. Straight to video hell, I guess you could say. And by the way, speaking of Bloodline, I'm 4 videos deep into my Hellraiser Chronicles. Not normal reviews. It's me watching the movie and turning on the camera as I'm watching it because I don't remember a lot of these movies. And now that I can finally review this one, I can do a proper ranking. But I have to wait until I go through the rest of these movies so that way I can give you a proper ranking. And what I can tell you is that the new Hellraiser movie will easily be in the top 5, probably top 3. It's very good, and that's not surprising because there hasn't been much for it to compete against, over the last, I want to say like at least 5, 6 movies. But it's a good movie right out the gate. It is a good movie. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. And does it hold a candle to the original? No, I don't think so at all, and we'll get into that. So first off, let's give you a quick plot synopsis. I thought that this was a remake, but it's more of a reboot. This story is very different than the original story from 1987. And this takes place in the modern day. So it's really kind of a sequel because it's just a brand new story. But you have this main character, Riley, who is a recovering drug addict. This element of the movie definitely reminded me of the Evil Dead remake. Where you have this character played by Jane Levy who was, a recovering drug addict. And it's nice to put an element like that in these movies because they become untrustable. They're the type of person that whoever loves them doesn't trust them at all. And I'm sure many of you probably have a friend or a family member. All of us are affected by drug abuse in some way or another. And if you're not, you're lucky. But that's a perfect plant for this movie to have characters that don't necessarily agree with everything they're saying. So if they come forward with this whole lament configuration, finding this box and hell and all that stuff, they're not going to necessarily be taken seriously by everybody. But she lives with her brother Matt, and she's got this boyfriend Trevor. Eventually she finds the lament configuration because they break into this warehouse where her boyfriend tells her about. And when she finds it, of course, she becomes curious. It looks very valuable. It belonged to this art collector by the name of Voight, which is at the beginning of the movie. And by the way, the beginning of the movie, great opening. Really sets the table, and it quickly kicks into gear. Like as soon as you turn on this movie, don't go to the refrigerator to get a drink or anything. Watch what's going, because immediately you're thrust into Hellraiser action. Then we settle down with our main characters. But eventually we all know that she starts fondling the box, as they always do. And the Cenobites, led by Pinhead, sounds like a band, Pinhead and the Cenobites, they are released and unleashed.
It's time. Greater delights await. All for us. What is it you pray for?
Boy, are they dangerous. I've said this in the past. I think the Hellraiser franchise has the most dangerous villains in all of horror. And they don't even have to touch you. You're in their world. As a matter of fact, there were some parts of this movie that felt kind of dreamlike in like A Nightmare on Elm Street. More than most of the Hellraiser movies, because you can go into that world a little bit with the Hellraiser movies. They can bleed into like a nightmarish type zone. But there's still a fine line between the two franchises. This one, to me, you kind of bleed in a little bit, which is cool. I like that. Now, getting right to the things I love about this movie. First off, Jamie Clayton takes on the role of Pinhead. Not an easy pair of metal-studded boots to slip into. Does he wear boots? And she is the best thing since Doug Bradley. You're not going to top Doug Bradley, and I like that she didn't try to copy Doug Bradley. And of course, they adjusted the audio a little bit on this, I think, to give it a more androgynous and sinister vibe, and it really works. Also, though, I think Pinhead is just a visual type of character, and you have to have the right type of face to really send it home. Doug Bradley had that face. Jamie Clayton has that face. She looks glorious as Pinhead and scary as hell. I don't think the one-liners, because of course Pinhead is going to be giving off sinister one-liners. I don't think she sends it home as well as Doug Bradley did, but who in the hell can? But it's still very effective, for sure. There are quite a few homages to the Hellraiser franchise, especially the first movie throughout this. You're gonna see those elements of lust. That is in here, for sure. The score by Christopher Young in the original movie, definitely some nice beats in this movie that harken back to that. It's an iconic score, for sure. And I'm glad I've been going through these movies because it reminds me how effective that score is. Like, I think it's one of the most important aspects of the franchise. The new Cenobites, you know, there is the Chatterer, I guess you could call it. There's an upgraded, newer version of that because we had that in the original movie. And I do like the Cenobites in this. They kept it dark and sinister, and they didn't get a little bit silly like they did with Hell on Earth. Without going into any spoilers, you get a little bit more Cenobite action in this movie than ever before, which is cool. Like, they literally, I guess, reach out and touch you, which is nice. Because I think Hellraiser as a franchise is more than most about mood and atmosphere, as Dave McCoy would say. It's all over the place in this movie. David Bruckner's direction is wonderful. And this looks like the most expensive Hellraiser movie ever made, thank God. And you know, it looks like he used every cent that he had because this world, even though he's smart about not using too many locations in this movie so that way he can get the most out of his dollar in terms of set design, practical effects, all that stuff. It feels big. This world definitely feels big, even though you have a kind of a constrained type of story. So the two marry together quite nice, actually. I think the movie is, and I did watch this in the daytime. I just watched a screener. I wish I could have watched it at night, and I might go back and watch it at night when it does come to Hulu, because this is a movie you definitely want to watch at night. You know, that was the mistake I made, was watching it during the day, and sometimes it's hard to make out what's going on. It's hard to see. So I think I'm going to I might even watch it again tonight, just so I can get the full effect of it. This is a movie that has definitely stayed with me since I watched it a couple hours ago. There's a heavy plot going on here too with all these characters, you know. There might be a few twists along the way. I did like the main character, Riley. I thought this was a very good character, you know, sympathetic. You felt bad for her. She is not perfect, obviously. She does fail a few times throughout the movie to give her some trials and tribulations. And when you're going up against this world and hell and Pinhead, and you're like a drug addict, oh boy. Now, as far as any cons, I don't think any Hellraiser movie is going to be as good as the story of the first movie, and that being, you know, lust, the power of lust, and Frank and Julia, and how they would stop at nothing for Frank to become fully realized. You know, that they were the main characters of that movie, and to me, they were just as front and center as Pinhead. Whereas in this movie, I did feel like I was waiting for Pinhead to present himself or herself. And I did think Pinhead presented itself enough. Yeah, I didn't want more Pinhead when the movie was over. I think they had just the right amount throughout. But having said that, these characters I didn't find as strong as characters like Frank and Julia and Kirsty. You know, Kirsty's one of my all-time favorite final girls. She might be my like top 3 final girls. She's that good. But overall, guys, I gotta say, this is the best Hellraiser movie, you know, probably since the first. It might be the second best Hellraiser movie. I'm not sure. I need to let it process a little bit. Production-wise, it feels big, you know? They put a lot of money into this movie, it feels like. I would have liked to have seen this in the theater, It reminds me of Prey, you know, what they did with Prey. That movie didn't come to the theater. If it did, it was just a very limited run. But Prey was excellent. One of the best Predator movies since the first. Here again, we have the same case. One of the best Hellraiser movies since the first. It's a shame that this is not having a wide release. But it's nice to have it on Hulu because I think more people will watch it than if it was only in theaters. So, purchase worthy, for sure. Purchase worthy. I was gonna give it a high humdrum, but the more I think about it, I think I'm gonna give it a purchase worthy. So, let me know in the comments your thoughts on the new Hellraiser movie. Also, I'm still doing the Hellraiser Chronicles until I'm done with all of them, okay? So, stay tuned for that. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks where we talk horror all day and every day on Fridays. We do Free for Fridays. Follow me at Drumdums and on my socials. Support me on Patreon. Buy me a coffee. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. Drumdum out.